Hi, this is Tashina.
And this is Jonathan.
And this is Abandoned Ship, a podcast where we take you through Deep Space Nine.
And today we are starting finally on Season 2, Episode 1, The Homecoming.
Part 1, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a 3-parter.
So are they all Homecoming? Like
No.
Oh, but it was weird. They had like a little parentheses one.
I think that was the source of the... That was the source. Yeah. Fuck Paramount Plus. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway.
Many
yeah.
issues.
So they did not like using Part 1, Part 2s in DS9. They wanted to... They still had them.
Yeah.
I feel, if I remember correctly, it was mostly due to studio pressure. Especially by the end, they just completely ditched it. Like, we're never doing a Part 1, Part 2. So this is their first little foray. They wanted to... Like, I don't know, it's not a 2-parter, it's just the show, right? They wanted to emphasize the serial nature. So yeah, this is like 3 episodes. It's effectively a 3-parter, but they're...
Because at the end, it's like, to be continued, ...
Yep. Yeah, their first little taste. All right.
Are you ready to get into this episode?
Let's go.
Okay. So, we jump right into our new season with Quark.
As we so often do.
Which, honestly, completely understand. Not only Quark, but Quark and Odo having a little spat, a little back and forth, which is lovely.
Apparently, Quark turned in a smuggler.
Mm-hmm.
And Odo is confused and can't figure out why he did it.
He's trying to find his angle, like, what's in it for you? What are you doing this for?
Of course, they're like, we're going to be friends now. Don't buy it. Rom comes in.
Yeah, I was about to say Rom even is like, why'd you do that?
Quark is like, something rule of acquisition. Every once in a while, declare peace. Confuses the hell out of your enemies. And
you know what? That seems to be a solid rule for the Ferengi, because it has confused Odo especially. So throughout this, you could tell Quark is getting a little distracted. Like, he keeps looking off to the side. And it's because there's a hot babe that he's got to go talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's also in this smuggler's ring. She's a captain of a ship.
He knows many smugglers.
Yeah.
He would never turn this one in,
No.
though.
Not this hot babe. So he starts talking to her, and she reveals that when she was on Cardassia 4, someone gave her one of the Bajoran earrings. And of course, the Bajoran earrings are like identifying pieces. She's like, he just said, take this to Bajor. They would know what to do. And Quark's like, oh, thank you. Shoop. And takes the earring and heads on his way.
Also, something that, since a lot of times they don't go into space and spatially mapping things out in your mind about where things are, you're just sort of like, trust us, bro, it's somewhere nearby. Cardassia 4, that would be like, when you number the planets like that, that's like Mars to their Earth, right? So it's the Cardassia solar system. You have 1 through whatever many planets they have. So like ours would be like Sol 1, Sol 2. So I guess Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. We're like Sol 3 would be Earth, right?
Okay, so that's how they're counting. It's kind of like from the middle out.
And you're genetically counting planets in some solar system somewhere. That's why they always have the numbers on a lot of these planets. This is Archer 4. So that gives you an idea of like, this is like home turf solar system, the 4th planet, right next to the Cardassia Prime.
Okay.
Which would be their Earth. So it's not like some fringe thing, which may or may not add to the believability of what they're able to pull off in this episode.
Also that, and also the believability of what Dukat says later.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just some context here when they say like Cardassia 4, it's like, oh, that's right next. That's their backyard.
Yes. That's interesting. I didn't realize in relation where Cardassia 4 was to like... Yeah, that's true. I don't really have like spatial awareness of like...
They don't say.
Where Bajor is, where Cardassia...
Like how big are these people's empires? Like,
yes. All I know is Cardassia seems to be huge. Like they seem to have a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so after credits, We cut to Kira's quarters, where she's having a peaceful moment with her shrine, and oh no, here comes Quark, bursting in all gleeful, because he's got something that she wants.
Got this fancy earring. Is it valuable? What do you give me for it? Of course she takes it. She has no respect for Quark.
She leaves Quark in her quarters.
Well, yeah, she makes a big deal about, like, Quark's like, oh, let me guess, this is the bedroom. You one step in here, and I'll promise it'll be your last. She sees the earring, recognizes it, and leaves. And yeah, leaves Quark in there. Oh.
She's going to come back. There's going to be underwear missing.
Oh, yeah. The whole drawer is gone.
The whole drawer is gone.
All the sheets.
He doesn't even think, he just takes the drawer.
Just beams it out.
Just like half her stuff is missing.
After he has scanned the entire room with his hollow imager.
I'm like, girl, I know this is important, but don't leave Quark alone in your room. So yeah, she runs out. You could tell, like, she immediately knew.
Yeah.
Whose earring?
Not just that it's an earring, but it's a specific earring.
Yes. We go to the promenade where Jake tells his dad he's got a date with the Bajoran girl.
I really liked their back and forth here. It just feels very
cute.
natural and father-son.
Yes. Because Jake's like, well, can I take her to the hall suite? Cisco's like, no.
Yeah. That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah. What about our quarters? Alone. And Cisco's like, no. Take her to the promenade upstairs.
Stare out the window.
And Jake's pretty much like, there's nothing really to do date-wise.
All this to be my last date, Dad.
On this promenade. Which, I mean, he has a point. There really is probably not much for teenagers to do, which is probably why Nog and him are always getting into shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. So they had to start up the school.
Yep. Poor Jake. He's trying so hard to have some kind of relationship here and, make it last more than one date.
And then he ends with, Jake says, I can see you're not ready to have this conversation yet. And he leaves. And Susan's like, huh?
That was cute. Because Kira comes up in a fluster. So Jake's like, okay, time for me to go. Bye. They head over to one of the
replimant.
And Kira sits down at the table. I don't know why this cracked me up. Cisco goes, gets coffee. He gets a snacky, like, before he sits down with her. And you could tell she's like, no, I don't want anything. I just want to get to it. And he's just like, you sure you don't want a snack? Like,
I represented Cisco in that moment.
Snacking.
Like, my morning coffee, morning treat. Yeah.
It's like something in him knew that this was going to be.
I'm gonna need this.
I'm gonna need this coffee and snack. At this point, Kira asks for a runabout and says, "But don't ask questions." And Cisco's like, "I have to ask questions. You can't just take a Federation runabout." And we find out that the earring is from Lee Null. Is it Nullis?
Yes.
Yeah, Lee Nullis.
Linalas. Lee Nullis.
Who was believed to be dead, and he is like a predominant figure in the resistance. Like, everybody knows Lee and his exploits and like what he did.
His famous victory over Gul Zarheel.
I don't know the name of the Gul.
I remember it being Zarheel, but it's not really spelled that way, but
okay.
Sure it was Zarheel. In hand-to-hand combat, legend.
Legend. Exactly. He is a legend, thought to be dead, and this earring seems to prove he's not, because he's been missing for like 10 years. So Kira's like, I have to go get him. And Cisco's like, well, did you ask the Bajoran like provisional government? And she's just like, okay. Yeah, that didn't go over well, because there's tons of political infighting. Like, you could tell it's just a time of turmoil. They don't know who to put in charge of everything. Like, it just seems like religious, political, like, just so much turmoil is going on. And that's also why she wants to get Lee, because this legend can come in and maybe bring the leadership that Bajor needs to keep going and not fall apart.
I also think it makes a lot of sense for Bejor to be in this position. They've
Oh,
just
yeah.
been under an occupation with a very oppressive authoritarian regime. You can see how now the overreaction is to not assert oneself. It's like what Kira went through in Progress,
Yes.
where she had to come to terms with being on the other side. She didn't want to, I can't be here bullying Bajorans around, because that's what the Cardassians did.
Yes.
But sometimes that's just what you have to do to govern, especially something as big as a planet. So you can see how, they're in this very vulnerable position where no one wants to be stepping on anyone's toes for fear of inciting those feelings of oppression again. But what it has led to is a government that's ineffective and can't get anything done.
Yeah, because they just have factions and infighting. And they do need at least a strong path, like a goal that they can all rally around, because that's what got them through the occupation.
Right, common enemy.
Common enemy. This is our goal. This is what we're going through and what we need to do to survive. And even if people had different ideas on how to fight and how to achieve that, they still had that common goal. Where here for Bejor, it seems like they don't even have that. They are just so scattered. And we saw this even with Season 1. We started seeing some of this turmoil. And I feel like Season 2 just kind of like is ramping up that.
Also key here is she said Dax found dermal residue on the Max. So she's already taken this to Dax, had it analyzed, and it matched Leonalysis. So she tells him right here, just a little note for the future. She has explicitly told Dax to look at this earring and what it is.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So Sisko's like, they don't want to risk going to war with Cardassia, which makes sense if you're going to go rescue him. If you're going to go bust into the Cardassian home system.
Yes, it could go really bad.
They had... This whole thing kept reminding me, there's an episode in later TNG, a whole thing about them. It was the Lower Decks episode, where there was this whole top secret plot to like smuggle out a dissident or a Federation spy out of Cardassia. And so they have to send in like someone in a shuttle disguised as a Bajoran and all this thing just to get into Cardassian space. It was like such a huge deal. And then this poor woman ends up dying, completing the mission. Like this whole big thing of the whole point of this episode is getting into Cardassian space. And, but it's really difficult and we were detected and she was killed. And so the way, spoilers, that they just get in so easily in this episode, I'm like, damn, O'Brien shouldn't have left TNG, because maybe he could have saved this poor girl from dying. Because it was pretty easy for them to go right in and right out.
We'll talk about Miles and Kira apparently got skills.
Yeah. Should have sent them. Speaking red shirt.
So speaking of Miles, he calls up Sisko because he found something in a hallway. I don't know. Sisko's like, okay, put this on hold, Kira. I will think about it. We'll revisit at another time. So Sisko and Odo go meet up with Miles, and in some kind of random hallway is a huge, like, spray painted emblem, which looks like a big circle with a couple things in the middle.
And what do they call themselves?
The Circle.
They're very creative.
Yeah. It's some kind of global unity thing. Pretty much they're an extreme faction that believes Bejor for Bajorans. So meaning no other species should be on Bejor or anything owned by Bejor, like DS9. And, being on a station where there's a lot of non-Bajorans, that's an issue. And you can tell Sisko's like, okay, we've now, with this emblem, we've kind of kicked it into the next gear. They're announcing themselves. We are here on the station, because apparently this emblem has popped up on like Bejor itself, on the planet. It's the first time anything has happened on the station. So Sisko's like, this definitely kicks in the worry, which we see later is probably why he allows Kira to do what she does.
I love O'Brien's reaction to the graffiti.
How dare they?
What gives them the right to mess up our station? These punk kids. The graffiti.
I know the way he's talking about, like, just I'm like, no, I'll get chased into it.
Yeah, that's his biggest concern, is just that I gotta clean this up later.
Yes, that's a concern, Miles, but there's bigger concerns.
All right, so now we have Dax and Cisco. Cisco wants to get her advice.
Oh God, we're not talking about baseball, right?
I like that, especially after, what was that episode? The Rumpelstiltskin one.
Yeah.
All baseball stuff. This echoes my thoughts. Thought you enjoyed talking about baseball. And Dax is like, Curzon did, but not as much as he let you think. Cisco's defeated and deflated now. His disappointment is immeasurable and his day is ruined. No one wants to talk to me about baseball.
So pretty much Cisco, he's worried. He's worried now that the circle is on the station, the infighting on Bajor. He is also on the same page with Kira that leadership is needed.
Yep. And so he's sort of asking, what if I told you there was someone? And she's like, I'd give Kira the runabout.
I know.
How did you know about that? It's like, didn't she just tell you that she talked to Dax and confirmed this was Lee Nollis? Like, that seemed obvious to me.
So he's going to get Kira the runabout.
Because Dax brings up a good point. Is like, yes, this is an aggressive move against Cardassia, but they also did say that they released all their prisoners.
Yo, seriously.
So they're going to kind of gamble on here that even if it goes bad, they're not going to admit. They're going to try and sweep it under the rug probably because they don't want to admit to having them.
Exactly. So the concern is Kira getting to the point where she can actually prove that there's prisoners. Like if she got shot before,
that would be bad.
That would probably be the worst case scenario. When Cisco goes out to tell Miles also knows Kira's plan. And he's like, well, if there's anybody on the station who doesn't know, tell them she's doing this. So yeah, apparently everybody knows Kira's mission.
I think they could have, not to get nitpicky since we had just talked about how terrible nitpicks are, I think this little gag about everyone knowing probably would have worked better if it had like a third component.
Well, threes, yeah.
Yeah. Just because it felt a little
Bashir just
abrupt.
come in randomly.
Everyone knows. I mean, you've only talked to two.
On her mission yet?
You've only talked to two people at this point, so it's like not. Oh, does everyone? It's like two people. One of whom you should have already known. So it's just like it didn't hit as hard as it should have.
Yeah, it got a mild chuckle, but again, if Bashir just randomly came in and go, has Kira gone on her mission yet? I think it would have been like, especially Bashir.
Was Bashir in this episode?
He was.
Oh, later
briefly,
on.
Very briefly.
Yeah, it gets you a chuckle because you understand the trope right away that they're going for. Yes. So you're more laughing at that rather than the fact that they earned it themselves. Yeah. I will say overall, compared to a lot of the low points in season 1, this episode definitely stepped it up a bit in the production department and, line deliveries and pacing.
Oh, yeah, this is a solid episode.
It felt pretty solid, yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, so we go back to Kira's quarters. She's all dressed down in her very 90s alien attire.
Very 90s alien civilian clothes, yeah.
Cisco comes in with Miles, who's also dressed down. And Cisco pushes for Miles to go with her. Thank God he did.
Right.
And I think Cisco is already putting a lot on the line, letting her do this. I think it's fair to have Miles on board. Somebody, Federation, in case Kira gets into the deep end, pull her back.
Kira makes a good point, like, well, having a Federation officer there kind of, I guess he's not an officer. She calls him an officer, but he's not. Having a Federation person there does make it a little harder to deny their involvement, where she could just say, I stole this.
That's true.
But I think, he'd rather just be like, yeah, but let's play to win, right?
Yeah.
Let's not play it safe. If we're going to do this, go all in.
Yep.
All right.
So we are now on the runabout.
Oh, and O'Brien makes a nice comment, like, I've seen how Cardassians treat their prisoners, which is a nice reminder that O'Brien also has history with Cardassians, which gives him a little bit of a investment in this and some understanding between them.
He cares.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to see
it's not theoretical
POWs trapped, Yeah.
And it's been, It's been 10 years since he was captured.
Okay.
Right? Because that's what they mentioned later.
Lee? Yes.
Because the occupation hasn't been over for 10 years, but it's been 10 years since he was captured.
They said at some point the Federation's been there for about a year, so I'm guessing it's been about a year.
Seasons, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's been a while, which is a long time to be
10 years.
picking up rocks.
Yes, that is. Whew. They're in the runabout on their way, and they are scanned and hailed by Cardassia, and they puff their way through. And I'm like, wow, this shows Miles and Kira this, and when they're on the planet, how good they are at improv bluffing. Get them in an acting troupe.
Yeah, they do the gull's waiting for these, which always works. They do that with the Cardassians a lot.
They do.
When you start looking for it, they do it a lot of, don't want to make this random gull angry.
Which I'm guessing then a lot of gulls get angry if that keeps working.
I feel like it's a very World War II trope, and a lot of World War II stuff, they'd always do that with like the Nazis. And
exactly.
You have this militarized, authoritarian, fascist structure, so everyone's always worried about reprisals from the top.
Yes.
So it always plays well.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very classic.
Yeah.
She also mentions to O'Brien when they're starting, like, just so you know, O'Brien, this can go only one of two ways. Either we bring back Neil Niles or we don't come back at all. And O'Brien's like, understood. It's like, I get what they're going with here. Like, yes, I'm with you. But also, like,
sorry, Keiko.
He volunteered for the suicide mission very easily, given he has a wife and child. I guess they're still on Bajor. He probably forgot about them. Oh, shit.
I have a family.
Guess they're fighting again. I don't know. Get me out of here. Okay.
So they get through bluffing and they scan and realize it's dozens of. They got a few Bajorans down there. It's not just Lee.
More than they can beam out.
Yep. So they have to land and kind of hide their runabout off to the side. And this is where we get to the fun stuff. It's so corny, but I love this scene so much.
So yeah, they just walk up to the camp. O'Brien pretends to be Kira's pimp, which I guess they're used to seeing.
And the way he's like showcasing her, and she's just like, I'm like, did they rehearse this?
And not only that, O'Brien decides to put on some kind of accent.
That's great. I love it so
much. But it's like an accent I feel like only an Earth person would understand as being associated with the underworld.
Exactly.
It's like, what are you doing?
I know he was definitely getting his seedy side out, like.
Which is a
handle me, boy.
So yeah, they trick this Cardassian guard into lowering the force field to get Kira in to check out the goods.
And I like how she just like just opens up for sure just a little bit and bam!
Punches him in the face.
And then she lets the force field down to let O'Brien in, and then they just start, fucking up Cardassians left and right.
This is a pretty good phaser fight. I can't. They haven't had any running phaser fight in the show yet. I don't think they haven't had any action like this yet, right?
So. Nothing is papping.
Yeah, and TNG was always kind of hit or miss with this kind of thing. So they're always showing some of their chops here with the stunt work.
Yeah, this was a good scene.
The guys flinging themselves on the ground. They have this classic move. If you watch for it, the stuntmen on Star Trek have a classic move where when they get hit, they just kick their feet out from under them, so they sort of fly in the air, but like in place and down. So if you look for that, you'll see it. It's like a classic hit with a phaser move. It's easy for a stuntman to do. So,
okay. Yeah.
So I started noticing that here. Yeah. So a nice little action thing.
They fucked them up.
Some poor Bajorans getting shot left and right. Hopefully these weapons are on stun.
Lee does get hit, so they're slowed down. So a group of Bajorans pretty much sacrifice themselves so they can get back to the runabout.
Yeah, here we reveal Lee is shocked to see them.
Yeah.
And we find out that one of his fellow prisoners smuggled his earring out without his knowledge.
And they're like, we did this. We sacrificed for you. We smuggled this out for you.
Which he does not like.
Not at all. And you could tell, like, this, even from the very beginning, you could tell something's off with him internally and how much the people love him.
Right.
And how important they think he is.
They will die for him.
So Kira was correct in her assessment.
Of his impact.
Exactly.
But yeah, he's a little more like...
But you could tell you he's like, oh, it's off. But, you know, he's been in POW
Sure,
for 10 years. So if it's just like,
You're
nothing's
excusing it at
ringing
this
bells
point.
yet. You don't know him. So it's like, okay, maybe he's just like out of it.
You can also excuse it as, oh, he's just so humble and he cares about his people more than himself.
Because he yells, don't leave them behind.
Yeah. Which reminds me of like Dune, where you're talking about like, oh, he is the least Al Qaib. He is modest.
He is honest, yes. He's like, no, no. We'll find out later why, but he definitely...
The least Al Qaib would say he's not the least Al Qaib. He is the chosen one.
Lee doesn't think he's worth being sacrificed over, so you could tell how hard it hits him when these men die for him, in a sense.
Yeah, basically, they give them their weapons and they leave them to hold off the Cardassians while they get to the runabout. They try and wait for them, but now there's ships coming into orbit, and so they basically it's now or never. They're gonna get got.
Mm-hmm. So they head back to DS9. Lee is in critical condition, so he heads right to the infirmary. And even here, he's like, oh, these people have been in a camp for 10 years. You need to treat them. And Bashir's like, we will. You're in critical condition.
Yep.
Let's worry about you first. Kira heads over to Sisko's office and burst in to a meeting between Sisko and Gul Dukat.
And you're like, uh-oh.
Our favorite fuckboy.
What's he gonna say? And then he says, we'd like to apologize. And you're like, huh?
Huh?
So yeah, their gamble paid off. They're like, oh, we had no idea these prisoners were being held here. And all the ones that you left behind, we're going to return them safe and sound.
I would follow up on that.
Will be punished, all this stuff. We hope you understand that this means Cardassia is no longer your enemy. It's like,
It's just funny because Kira's in her civilian clothes. You could tell she's like, trying to back up like Homer Simpson style to the bush. But even she's just like, what game are they playing at? Sisko's like, yeah, we know there's probably some alternative motives going on here, but we can't worry about that right now. Let's focus on what we have going on in DS9.
This is possibly a little bit of foreshadowing to the next couple episodes. Because they're like, right now, we can't worry about what their motives are. Just grateful that we're going to get all the people back and there's not going to be a war.
Yeah. Priorities. Go to the infirmary. It's pretty much our only moment with Bashir where he's fixing up Lee and he tries to talk him up about his exploits. And here, Lee's like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about this shit. Please shut up.
Yeah.
In the nicest way possible.
Poor Bashir.
Bashir, oh.
Starstruck.
I remember hearing about you in the legends.
It's him. The one.
I'm guessing this is probably a day or two later where he's out of the infirmary. Lee is with Sisko and Kira. They're walking on the promenade, kind of just giving him the lay of DS9. Kira's called away.
And you can see throughout the scene.
It's so uncomfortable.
They did a pretty good job of like, just everywhere you look in the background, there's Bajorans who are just like staring, and pointing and then, turning and talking to their fellows. And it's like, you can tell he's recognized and has an effect. And
they start to gather a little closer and they really want to get near him and he's getting more uncomfortable.
Time for some autographs.
We cut over to Kira, who is greeting Minister Jaro from Bajor, I guess, who's there to check in on Lee, the situation, and also to reprimand Kira for what she did.
Yeah, Jaro's he's playing both sides here. He's very much a politician. You don't really know where he stands, but he's like, so officially, I have to warn you that if you do that, pull that shit again, you're fired.
Done. Yeah.
But as a private citizen, thank you for bringing Lee Nollis to us. Which I don't really buy, because the minister's the ones who told her not to, because they're worried about themselves and bringing in, if she's right and this person is going to now lead them, like, how does this fit in with them and their position of power? And it just makes things complicated and mixing things up. So I feel like
Jaro's there to get an assessment.
He tells her two different things and neither of them are what he actually thinks, basically.
Yes, I think that's Correct.
which is the sign of that they can tell you many things, and which one's the truth. It's neither. It's a whole different thing. Yeah.
All right, so we cut back to the promenade where Lee kind of has to start give a speech to the crowd because the crowd is gathering, wanting to hear from him. And he says a couple lines, and then Jaro cuts in. He's like,
It's good to be free.
I'll take over from here. I'm a politician. I like to talk to the people. And he talks and
He does his thing.
Yeah.
The difference between Lee Nollis's sort of clumsy words, and then Jaro comes in and you could tell he's very used to speaking like that. That was a nice they sold you on this guy knows how to talk to a crowd because he really frames it in a really concise, powerful way, but also kind of throws Lee under the bus because he's like, never forget the day when Lee Nollis returned to
I
us.
know. You will tell your children and your grandchildren.
No.
And Lee just looks so over everything. He's just like,
he made it worse. Because he's like, yeah, you go right ahead. Because oh, good, someone else will talk. But then he just sort of fluffs him up some more. It's like, no.
We get a quick scene where Lee finally gets to go to his quarters and away from the people.
I just spent 10 years in a Cardassian labor camp. Oh, wait, this bed is terrible. Never mind.
I'm like, that's the only way he would enjoy this bed.
That bed in the labor camp was more comfortable than this. I'd rather sleep on those rocks.
So Sisko pretty much starts bringing him up to speed on their hopes for him and kind of what's been going on with Bajor and how they need clear and decisive leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he just does not look up to it. He always, I have to give credit to this actor. He just looks so all the time
but never enough where you're really clocking it right away. It's under the surface. And just like Sisko can excuse, okay, he's just been rescued from this labor camp. 10 years in a labor camp, it's a long time.
Can I go to Ryza? Can I just chill for a while?
So okay, you need some sleep. Oh, I'll leave you alone.
And then we go back to Quarks, where it's payday.
He's counting out the latinum. 1 for you, and 6 for me. 1 for you, and 6 for me.
Poor Rom.
Rom complains about equal share of the profits, so Quark goes, you're right. 1 for you, 7 for me. Rom leaves in a huff.
And then, out of the shadows, 3
dun, dun, dun.
masked figures come up and brand Quark with the emblem, which it took me back again. It's just oh yeah, this happened.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, what would you call it? There's a lot of symbolism involved in this moment of branding and someone as an other and this racial purity angle and there's a lot of subtext wrapped up in this scene, and which
the sadness of after what Bajor went through, Bajoran's now doing this. It is heartbreaking.
Yeah, because when they're cut to the infirmary and Bashir's trying to heal it, and Lee Nollis is there, and Lee Nollis is like, Bajorans did this? He can't believe it.
Shook him to his core. And I think this is definitely what prompts what he does next, because he must be I'm out of my depth.
Yeah.
This is not just get the people together. We are having fanatics branding people. I can't handle this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Sisko's telling him about the circle and pretty much pressing upon him this is why we need you. And Lee's no.
He's about to have a panic attack, basically.
Oh, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't ask for an inhaler at this moment. So after this intense scene, we go to Sisko's. Jake's there, and he's a sad boy.
This was a really powerful scene, too. I mean,
it's interesting because we get an extreme thing that happens, and we get also the mundane.
Yes, how it affects how it can affect your everyday life
on every single layer. And yes, this extreme thing is definitely the more important, but these mundane things also pile up.
This is more heartbreaking.
Yeah, there is something about this that really got to me because Jake's date got canceled because he's not Bajoran.
Yeah, the girl he was going out with was a Bajoran, and
The dad.
the dad didn't want him going out with him. And I feel like you can't avoid the comparisons with, oof, I don't know why it's got me, but you can't avoid the comparisons with, like, Cisco, an African American,
Oh,
hearing from his son that
yes.
someone doesn't want his daughter going out with his son because of how he was born.
Yeah.
Right? It's like they never obviously say that, but just and this is what's great about Star Trek, that you don't have to say, you just put them in this parallel situation,
Yep.
and you just know, and it hits.
You can see it on
much
Cisco's
harder.
face. You can see everything
Yeah.
on Cisco's face when he
Yes.
hears the reason why. Because at first he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Jake. You know,
Yeah, it
these
happens,
things
yeah.
happen." But when he
Here's
hears
why.
the reason why, the deep sadness,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he handled it pretty well. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't deserve this.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody deserves this, to be treated like this. And it, yeah, that got to me too.
Yeah, it's
All these moments matter.
Yeah, and it's starting to bleed into, now it's affected his son, who has nothing to do with any of
He's
this.
just a kid.
Yeah.
And he has to deal with this racist bullshit.
Uh-huh.
It's interesting because of, where they are in history. We get that Earth is a utopia, but, Cisco knows history. He's the learned
Right.
man. He
They didn't
knows
get there
history.
on an easy road.
Exactly. And he knows what it looks like. And it must be interesting to see it firsthand like this, affecting your son.
Right.
Where I don't know if he's ever maybe had that experience before.
Right,
It's
you would
more been
imagine-
head knowledge.
Yeah.
For him, because of how Earth is at the present time.
Right.
But yeah, every actor is the actor plays Cisco is so good. He's so good. You can tell everything from how his body language changed to his facial expressions, and the way he just gently was speaking to his son.
It was very believable. It was very, you just felt like he actually did, and that's probably because he actually didn't in real life. Like, they had a great connection. You can just, it just comes through on screen. You can tell, you totally buy this relationship.
Oh, yes.
Which makes all these scenes hit all the harder.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably one of the best dynamics on this season. Not season, series.
Yeah.
Is Cisco and Jake. Because we get to an episode a couple seasons later that always makes me sob like a fucking baby. And I know when we get to it, I'm going to be sobbing.
That episode's going to be a wreck.
Nobody's going to be, you think you can't understand me now? Just wait till we get to that episode. I'm going to be crying the whole time. I cry every time.
An hour sobbing and just go
I
on.
know, just an hour of me just so, but we'll get there when we get there. But it's because of the way they build this relationship between Cisco and Jake in the show that makes that episode that every time, I've seen it multiple times and I sob every time because of the foundation that is built with them. And it's heartbreaking.
All right. At this moment, Cisco gets a call from some freighter that was trying to leave the station. They found a stowaway and, like, hoping you know what to do with this guy. And they drag him onto the screen, and it's Lee Nollis looking very sheepish.
Peace, y'all. I'm going to the Gamma Quadrant for years. Because, the ship that he was stowing away on, because they cut to the next scene, Cisco's grilling him. And he's like, that ship was planned to go to the Gamma Quadrant for a couple years. And Lee was like, oh, baby, it was going to be longer than that.
Yeah. I won't come back. So he goes to the story, which on my screen takes up on the transcript takes the entire screen.
It's pretty much the fight that they reference to with Gaul, whatever. What actually happened?
Which was that he was on the run. He was starving. He went to go get some water. He fell down a hill and landed in front of this gull bathing naked, and he shot him.
Yeah, and the only reason why he was able to shoot him is literally he had the gun in his hand, and the gull just, I guess his weapon was on his clothes. Yeah, on his clothes, and he couldn't reach it in time. There was no, like, hand-to-hand fight or combat. It was literally just opportune moment. But he was with two men who took the story. And of course, once you start passing on the story, it becomes bigger and bigger. And now it's legend. He's like, I literally just shot a Cardassian who is naked coming out of the river.
Yep. So now you realize everything about this guy has been.
And that's it, because all
completely
the other
exaggerated.
stories, like, and the victories that they attribute to him. Like,
Yeah.
he was in the shadows as leadership. He leaded this campaign.
Oh, I hear Lee
and
Nollis did that. Yeah, it was definitely Lee
he's
Nollis.
like, I did shit.
Talk about imposter syndrome.
Oh, which now you're understanding why he's so uncomfortable throughout the whole episode, because they keep talking about him like he is this legend. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm just a man. That's all I am. I'm just Lee Knowles. And Sisko's like, I hear you.
Okay, let's pivot.
Bajor doesn't need a man right now. They need a symbol. They need a legend. They need you. Sisko's like, please don't fuck this up.
I think he mentions like they see strength, they see honor, and they see decency.
Yeah.
Which is something like he has been
a good person.
Yeah, he has been. He's obviously overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And made a bad decision when he tried to leave, but he is fundamentally just a decent person. That is what Bajor needs. They don't need. He's I don't need you to lead troops into battle. I don't need that kind of person. I just need you to be, like he says, a symbol. I need you to remind them of the best in themselves, not the worst.
Exactly.
And that is a little more achievable in his composition.
Which I think this talk definitely helps Lee and what is expected of him, and can he actually fill this role? Because he's not trying to be this legend. He's not trying to be something he's not. It just keeps being put upon him, and you can tell how uncomfortable he is by this. And honestly, seeing what the Circle did, I understand him trying to piece out, because that would frighten me too. How am I going to lead people away from this? Like, how am I going to turn this around? I'm just a dude, you know?
Yep.
So Sisko gives his speech. Things are looking positive direction. For a little epilogue, we head to Ops. It seems like it's been a little bit of time.
Yeah, because apparently Lee Nollis has gone back to Bajor and now is returning with Minister Jaro.
Yes, and I guess they voted him in and gave him like a special title, which I bet Lee's like, oh,
any existing title was inadequate. You are now the Navarch.
I bet Lee was just rolling his eyes internally. Oh my God. So they head to Sisko's office, and it's revealed that Lee is now the Bajor liaison on DS9. Sisko's like, I have one. Kira's like, a what?
Charles like, not anymore. Kira is no longer assigned to this post. She has been recalled to Bajor. To be continued. Dun dun dun.
It is, I think, pretty solid to be continued. Like,
personnel changes. Dun dun dun.
It is, but I can, in the context of the show, like, it is meaningful. Like, no, Kira, no, don't go. We know how Sisko and Kira work together, how Sisko and Lee, who Lee is like poured his soul to Sisko. How's that going to work?
I just told you how incompetent I am. Now I'm your liaison officer. Yeah, and so you get a suspicion. Yeah. Now you're starting to get a suspicion that there's some sort of machinations happening, you know.
I do not remember.
Is being used in some way.
I do not remember what happens.
Okay.
Because that's my memory. But
it's also
as soon as
not a terribly memorable arc,
but as soon as Jaro came into the episode, I'm like, I just got bad vibes. There's something in the body that knows. Mm-hmm.
The extra right with you. The tree remembers.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, so then that's the end of
That's it.
What is effectively part 1 of 3. And yeah.
Which solid episode. A solid start to season 2. Like we get right into it, which I appreciate.
Yeah, we're back to what we started with, which is Bajor and their arc. which, you know, it's not bad. It's for starting the show, it's fine.
Yes.
I'm always have mixed feelings on the Bajor arc. It's obviously when you think about DS9 as a whole, what you're remembering is the Dominion, you know, as the overarching thing, and they hadn't gotten there yet, but it's still important at this point in time, especially, and it ties in directly with a lot of our characters.
Yes. And I think it's important to talk about what can happen to society after
Major upheaval.
yeah, this authoritarianism leaves, and now it seems like within itself is a fraction that's rising up that is kind of similar, and it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And we see it.
Yeah, it's definitely very timely how these movements can gain ground. And you know, what they talk about is just that, you know, they are, what's appealing about them is in this era of chaos and uncertainty, they bring a clear message and direction.
Yes.
That the rest of Bajor lacks. And that's what's appealing about them, is their message is very extreme and a little and off-putting, but they present themselves as the only alternative to all this chaos.
In the end, people want security.
Yeah.
And that is what the leadership at Bajor is lacking, is a clear path forward, making their people feel secure in the future. And if they do not come up with a clear goal, plan, anything, then of course you're giving room for this fringe fraction to come in to give that hammer.
So what you're saying is when you have a government party, say, that gets complacent and doesn't really get done what they promise, and is just like maintaining the status quo and ignores these issues, that leaves room for extremism to enter into politics, and before you know it, it's gone out of control and has taken over the government and is now guiding policy in shocking ways.
Yeah, I think you could say that. Yeah. Interesting. God, it's crazy how we just wanted to review the show because we love it, and literally how fucking relevant a lot of the shit is right now.
And I'm sure at the time it was written to be relevant, and it just keeps coming back.
It comes back. Because yes, the parallels they were looking at were something more in the past, but yet it feels like they were looking into the future.
Or maybe they were just like, yeah, wow, imagine this crazy situation. This never happened here.
Somebody in the writing room was on the pulse, man.
All right. Well,
yeah,
it feels kind of weird because it is like a part 1 of 3. Like, what is there like to talk about? So it's not focusing on the specific things, you know, the Jake and Cisco, the rise of extremism. Like, those are the things to focus on for this episode.
Yes,
and we'll have to see by the end of the 3-episode arc, like, if we have any more overall thoughts on the goings on.
But for what is essentially a part 1, it was packed. Like, I thought it was a solid episode.
All right. Well, we will see you in 2 weeks then for The Circle.
Dun, dun, dun.
All these start with the. I guess it's the trilogy: The Homecoming, The Circle, The Siege. All right.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.